Paul was not a big fan of the law, and we know this. He was like, I'm not going to try to dismantle it, but I want you to know that the law doesn't do anything. We've been set free from the law. If you want to fulfill the law, love your neighbor as yourself. And he says that in Romans 13. That's why I started out reading that part of Romans 13 and 8. It's clearly there. Like, this is what's important. If you really want to fulfill the law, I mean, it's as though he's like, here's this thing that we're going to satisfy the leaders, and the people around you, and will keep you guys safe. And here's the part to really remember is that faith expressing itself in love will cover all of this, so you guys just got to love each other. That's really amazing, right? But the irony of Paul creating a new law for Christians is insane. And it's just wild that we rebuild the law. And we even have Christians and religious teachers and preachers and all these podcasters and all these people that I see all on YouTube and on all over the internet, claiming that Paul has written into our Christianity laws that would have us serving unjust governments, laws that would have us defending slavery and apartheid and segregation and, that type of thing is wild, insane. And that's why I worry about what magical thinking leads us to. Not being practical, not wanting to just, I want to understand the history and the context. People just, it's so funny sometimes to see people, they will mock context, they will mock scholarship. And let me make it very clear, apologetics is not scholarship. Apologetics is magical thinking. It's trying to force it all to work together. It's trying to force it to be true, even when the evidence shows otherwise. So it's an anti-evidence based way of thinking. So again, I said he was trying to make the powers that be calm. He had no need to kill the Christians because they won't be opposing them. As I said, Paul's not going to be putting new laws and creating laws for Christians unless it has to do with love God with all your heart and equally as important your neighbor as yourself. Because Paul had a call to nonviolence. He would often say, do not repay evil for evil. And what I see happening on the streets in our country by ICE is evil. And people justify it by saying, well, they should have obeyed the law. And I'm going like, are you really serious? And then, because I'm a pastor, Romans 13, I'm just going, you just be like, I'm going to just shut off all of my social media and I'm going to go live in a cabin in the woods and just eat mushrooms and drink water from this creek. Paul always seemed more concerned with setting free people from the law. So this is helping the context. Again, Romans 13 is not a blank endorsement of the government.